Welcome to More Than a Few Words, a marketing conversation for business owners. This is your host, Lorraine Ball. And I know you've heard about using AI for your marketing, for your planning, for your data analysis. But did you know you can also use it for sales? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. And to have that conversation, I have invited Robert Downey to join me. He is the CEO of Simply Be Found, a leading platform that helps small businesses improve their local SEO and online visibility. You can read the rest of his bio later because I want to get into the conversation. Robert, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
I am so excited. We were having a lot of fun talking offline about so many things, but I want to focus in on using AI as a sales tool. How do I get started?
There's a lot of ways that you can use it for sales. I mean, you've talked about how you can use it for marketing. I mean, marketing and sales kind of go in that hand in hand piece. I mean, you can use your AI tools to be able to help draft emails and correspondence as far as sales goes, but it also can help you inside of the world of just being able to generate those leads and then to be able to work those leads through. Now, AI has lots of different pieces that are to it. You can make yourself duplicate it out. You can have an AI clone, which I think takes the whole soul out of, being able to have that conversation for how I do my marketing. But really, when you dive into it, AI should be used as a tool to be able to help you do it. So when I look at doing AI inside of sales, I look at it as how you use it inside of marketing to generate those sales. With ChatGPT coming out with its brand new search function, which I'm not sure if you've even looked and played with. I was playing
No.
with it just right before we hopped on this call. So ChatGPT actually took a whole search function. You can put a Chrome extension onto your browser. You can do search directly right inside of ChatGPT. And I think Google's going to be in trouble from that. And I think if small businesses or business owners are not paying attention, they're going to be left behind. Because that reminds me of, back in the 90s and everything changing as fast as it was, because we're moving at a speed that we just haven't moved at in a long time. I'm not even
I
sure if in
read
the
this
90s we were moving this fast.
I read this article recently where the statistic was something like Google has been dropping in terms of people using it as a search tool, and it's down about 50 to about 50% of all searches, where just a few years ago it was 90% of all searches. And so as you're looking to kind of adjust that balance, you really have to say, well, I'm not letting go of Google. I'm not letting go of my traditional SEO, but I have to broaden my horizons. It's like fishing in a pond that is slowly drying up. Eventually, there won't be any fish.
Well, it's one of those things to where it's gotten crazy. So at the beginning of this year, I was talking that Google had about 47% roughly the share of the searches. I'm now seeing from data science points at the end of the year where they're down almost 32%. They've dropped that much because you have all these companies that are calling these business owners saying, hey, we'll do voice search registration, which is nothing but being part of your local SEO. We solved that with Simply Be Found as well. But it's one of those things to where you have voice search, you have AI search, you have people going to different spots. Back when we were doing marketing, if we go back into the 90s or the 2000s, you had one or two devices they might come find you on. You had Mac and PC in the 90s, and that's it. Now you got smartphones, smart watches, you have, smart speakers and all of these other smart TVs. I mean, the list goes on. So you have, as a business owner, you have to make sure you're absolutely everywhere and you're putting that right information in. So when I look at AI, you have your local SEO, which is going to be your listings piece. You have your social media, and then you have your actual true SEO that's done inside of the website. Now, if you would have talked to me at the very beginning of this year or last year, I would have said websites were almost dead. They were nothing but a business card. And that's not the case anymore because that's where it's pulling all that data from. So it went from me talking about all this different stuff to then doing a 180. And are you seeing the same thing from your side?
You know what? It's so interesting that you say that because I have been on the website bandwagon consistently for 20 plus years. And I have been on this bandwagon of, even back when it was very popular to just keyword stuff pages and do all these black hat tactics. I always felt like if you answered the questions, people would find you and
Yep.
stay. And it's been so much fun to see it come full circle because all of the AI, all of the what is it called the limited language searches
And well, and your
are
schema pieces that are around that as well.
absolutely, it's all coming back to I asked a question, do you have the answer?
Correct.
Okay, so I think the message that looking at all of these pieces, and AI can play a role. It can help you rewrite your content.
Yep.
And I had an interview recently where someone really explained about how to get your voice. And I'm using a lot of her tools and I'm having a lot of fun with that. But let's say I've got my voice, I'm creating content that answers questions. How do I transform that piece of great content using AI into more of a lead gen tool?
That's a great question. And so when we built out Simply Be Found, it was a matter of having your listings, your social media suite, and then we came up with the AI SEO pixel. So that AI SEO pixel, so you take that content you just generated, you put that into your website. If you have the AI SEO pixel installed, what it's going to do is it's going to look at your title. It ties into your Google Search Console and your Google Analytics. So it knows real-time search history. It's going to have a marketing coach in it because I believe AI has to have a human environment inside of it. It cannot make decisions on its own. I had it the other day, want to make a CTA or a call to action on a website. Click right here, right now. And so like this long, I'm like, no, that's not going to work. But thank you. Thank you for the suggestions. You have to bring that human aspect into it. And that's been something really just bizarre for a lot of people to understand because you can't just let the AI go rogue. It just is not going to happen. But that AI SEO pixel is going to be able to do your title tag, and it's looking to see how people are surfing that site to know what to change that to. It's going to look at your heading tags, so your H1s, your H2s. It's going to look at your descriptions. It's going to be able to fill that out, your alternative, so your alt tags for your images. It's going to make all of those decisions. And as it's making those decisions, it pops up inside of our marketing coach's dashboard and actually says, okay, this is what we recommend. They can say, yep, approve. It's like having a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week SEO specialist behind your site the whole entire time. So now you just took that content, you published it onto your website, and it goes through and it just starts working. And all that happens just from a pixel that's installed on the top. It works with any website.
So I'm hearing two things. Number one,
Yep.
the process is you can take your content and you can turn it over to ChatGPT. You can give it access to your history and it can make better recommendations. And the
Yep.
process can be a little bit tedious because it's got to go back and forth, or someone can talk to you about your tool, the SEO Pixel. Is that what
Yep.
I'm hearing?
Yep. And, or they can use both. I recommend using both. So you write that original content because your voice needs to be heard. It's your story as the business owner. So it needs to be heard and then let it massage and make it even better. So our languages that we use or natural language databases that we use Claude, we use ChatGPT, we use Gemini. Our system's tied to 5 of the major ones. So it's going to look and it's going to analyze it. And it's going to use both of those or use all 5 of those inside of there to where it's going to be making those decisions. Now, that was kind of a scary process for us because those systems actually talk to each other and they start to make recommendations to each other. So when you look at that from the back end, it's absolutely the most bizarre thing that I never would have pictured when I got into this space in 95.
Absolutely. But the other thing that you said, even with all of these tools that can help you refine and tweak and improve your content, you have to have that little bit of human overlay where you're like, yeah, that's all good, except that sounds stupid. Or,
Correct.
yeah,
Or
that
that is totally off of base and we're way over here on the right-hand side.
absolutely. So at the end of the day, you have to still you don't get to leave the game. You can't just
Correct.
set up the field and walk away. You have to stay engaged and continue to give direction.
AI needs to be treated like the calculator. It's only as good as the input that's being put inside, and it's a tool to be able to help you be able to grow your business. So, no matter if you're using AI for your SEO, your social media, or if you're using it for your website creation or any of your listings out there and descriptions, you have to read it over. And if you're not reading over what it's producing, it's going to just go rogue and it's going to start thinking it's doing whatever it wants to do. And it does not do well at that yet. Maybe one day it will, but I still think the human aspect, we can look at it in a different way. And that is what has to be brought into AI.
Absolutely. Well, Robert, this has been fabulous. Thank you so much for being a part of the show.
Well, thank you for having me anytime.
Awesome. If you are intrigued by some of the things Robert was talking about, if you want to learn more about his SEO Pixel and dashboard, be sure to check out simplybefound.com. There'll be a link in the show notes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if you've enjoyed this conversation and you want to find other resources for your business, check out morethanafewwords.com. There are 1,000+ episodes in our archive and other marketing resources for your business. This has been another episode of More Than a Few Words. Thanks for listening.